Hey everybody, welcome back to HitPoint, a JRPG news show, an anime news show, a niche news show, a show where Baku and I talk about everything and anything that catches our interest. We stream live every single Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be talking about some new game announcements. We'll be previewing trailers, maybe talking a little bit about some rumors, and we'll be responding to super chats at the end of the show. Baku-san, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm feeling good. Happy Memorial Day for the folks in the States. I just had the best barbecue yesterday. Day to night, noon to about midnight, just nonstop eating. So bad. Like, are you hungry? Do you want to get another bite? Yeah, let's get another bite.
That's how you know it's an American holiday. We just get together and just gorge.
Yeah. It was so bad. Your friends like, I don't know, it was a lunch or a dinner thing. It's like, no, food is an all day thing.
Exactly. Lunch, dinner. It's all of the above. It's like you just start eating, and the key is you don't stop.
If you guys want to see the kind of food that I had, check my Twitter. I made just the best prime rib roast. I've really outdone myself. It was perfect in every sense. Flavor, the doneness. I've never seen a better looking prime rib roast ever.
That is quite the accomplishment.
Yes. I was so proud of myself.
Especially because those are not cheap cuts of meat.
They're not.
So you really if you screw up a prime rib, you screwed up a lot of meat.
It was 9 pounds of prime rib. It came to be about $90-ish US.
Wow.
It was not cheap. And if I messed it up, a lot of people be very unhappy with
Oh my gosh.
It's a lot of pressure, but I pulled through, and I've got to say it was amazing. We had jerk chicken. Actually, I made jerk chicken. I found a recipe that was also really good.
Yeah.
Made some burgers, made the prime rib. We tried a new cut called like the picanha.
Okay.
Just like a Brazilian cut that you don't usually find in like American supermarkets, but you can get it from like specialty from like a butcher, say for example.
Oh, okay.
Or even you go to Costco, you can ask the butcher to do it for you if you have like an in-house butcher. But you have to like basically ask for the cut, and it was just beautiful, super delicious. You can talk about it. I'm gonna give the recipe to Derek later. We didn't have time, but I'm gonna share some recipes with Derek later. But hey, if you guys want to know about it, just message me. I'll send some over to y'all.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully I have occasion to actually make myself a prime rib sometime soon. It has been quite the week for me. It's actually been Amy's birthday week, which basically means that we've been celebrating her birthday all week long.
Happy birthday, Amy.
Yeah. And we just we actually just went and visited my grandmother today, and
oh nice.
We were out of town like pretty much all day, and then finally just got back in, and I'm like, all right, time to start getting ready for HitPoint. So yeah, that's been kind of just everything that I've been up to lately, and I guess also trying my darndest to track down some crazy internet or not internet, but like power consumption issues that has been plaguing my house for a while. So I don't know if anybody's into like smart home stuff at all, but I actually recently just installed something called a Emporia View.
What's that?
It is a in-home in-circuit breaker monitor that like it has some like terminal clamps that like clamp around the mains voltage coming into your breaker and then out to each of the various breakers in your house, and it uses induction to basically figure out what is using power in your home, like what circuits are drawing stuff, and it's pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, so far everything's kind of inconclusive because I just finally finished installing it today. So that's kind of exciting, and I didn't electrocute myself today in the process, which it's always a good day when you don't do that.
That's the most important part.
Yeah. So, I guess with that, Baku, do you want to start tackling some of our comments from last week?
Yeah, you first.
All right, okay, I'll go first. So we got this one from Link Hyrule,
Hmm.
in reference to when I was making the clarification last week about how, gosh, what was it? How Link's Awakening is in fact, according to Nintendo, a sequel or a direct follow up to, you know. The Link to the Past. Anyways,
Hmm.
they said, cue the deep philosophical discussion about what qualifies for a sequel.
Hmm.
And basically it just goes on from there, kind of talking about like, because there's a lot of different considerations. Like the word sequel, it doesn't really get a whole lot of discussion about like when people say, oh, is this a like the whole remake versus remaster thing that gets talked
Hmm.
about a lot, but like a follow-up versus a sequel versus a successor, like there's a whole lot of room for wiggle room and interpretation for that word specifically as a sequel.
Hmm.
And so we kind of went back and forth in a little bit of a dialogue there about kind of our thoughts about whether or not something constitutes a sequel, if it has like director involvement or other creators were involved. Basically, I think what it personally for me comes down to is like whether or not the protagonist is carried forward in the next game. So for like Link to the Past, the Link from that game is canonically the same Link who then goes out on a journey on a boat, and then Link's Awakening begins. And other games that are kind of like that are like the Trails games, which is kind of like nothing but sequels. Whereas whereas games
Hmm.
like the Final Fantasy games, like sure, they might take place, like some of them might take place in Ivalice, but they're not necessarily sequels to one another, even if they exist in kind of the same world, right? It's just kind of one of those interesting kind of thoughts, thoughts to think
Hmm.
through about what exactly is a sequel. So
Mm.
yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Let's nail this down. Let's figure out what a sequels are.
What a
Put a
sequel is?
Yeah. Throw your thoughts down in the comments below, and
Heck
we'll
yeah.
we'll check those out and talk about them next time.
Yeah. Sequels, man. You're talking about main characters. So I'm thinking about something like an Atelier game where
Mm.
the main character doesn't become, or the protagonist of one game doesn't necessarily become the protagonist of the next game. I mean, there's risers,
But if there's
sure,
like
but
continuity, right?
yeah, there's continuity. Like they're there, but they're not like the main character. Or like what is it? Suikoden 1 and 2.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that's another example where like the protagonist comes back, but they're not like the protagonist, but
Hmm.
they're there. It's the same world. It's canonical.
Yeah.
I feel like that should still count as a sequel. Yeah, but it's sequel is one of those things where we just kind of understand it like intuitively,
I
kind of like
might push
remake,
back a little
remaster.
bit on
Yeah.
Suikoden 2, if
Okay.
only because I feel like the events are not necessarily directly connected to one another.
Mm.
Like I would say, like, for instance, to bring this back to books for a second, The
Right.
Hobbit, I would say, is like or Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit is not
Mhm.
necessarily a sequel. Like there's continuity, but it's more like a follow-up. But Lord of the
Mm.
Rings 2 and 3 are definitely sequels of Lord of the Rings 1, right? Because it
Right.
follows the same protagonist. It's like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird. I don't know. Our language for how we discuss fiction is weird and strange, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just being particularly weird and particular about the word sequel, but
Hmm.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Throw us throw it down in the comments below.
Yeah. After the show, the the comment
Yeah.
section doesn't open up just yet.
Does it not?
Oh, nope, it does not open yet. Yeah,
Oh.
it's only live chat right now. Yeah, but save your thought and then share that with us in the comments after the show.
All
Okay,
right.
we've got another comment from Lowest Expectation. And this is in reference to talking about RPGs in the PS3 era.
Mm-hmm.
They say for PS3 games, my favorites were Drinking Guard 3, better on emulator, Folklore or Folk's Soul in Japan, Tales of Xillia 1 and 2, Rune Factory, Tides of Destiny, Duix Human Revolution, and El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron, Disgaea D2, only play if you play D1, and an Altanelico 3, and all no surge. I think that's what it's called.
I gave you the comment with like all of the weird to pronounce items in it.
Not recommended if you never play Altanelico 1 and 2, and also Rock Band 3. Rock Band 3 doesn't count, sir, please.
Oh, come on. You in Rock Band 3,
does
you
not
play
count.
the role of a rock band.
But yeah, no, but these are in fact some really good PS3 games. So I think this is in reference to the super chat that we got asking about PS3 game recommendations. I personally love Xillia. I pretend Xillia 2 does not exist, but I love Xillia. So if you guys haven't checked out Tales of Xillia or really the Artanelico series, I can highly recommend those.
You know what's kind of weird to me on the subject of the PS3? This week I was browsing the retro gaming subreddit to find out that I think there was like a sticky post or something. Basically, they've now opened up the subreddit to discussions of the 7th generation of consoles, which includes Xbox 360 and PS3, PlayStation 3. The device that plays Blu-ray games is now officially retro, at least according to them. And that totally makes sense because PlayStation 3 was what, 2005, 2006?
Almost 20 years
going on, man.
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild to think about. And we're still using Blu-rays for our game distributions. Pretty wild. Pretty wild.
I think it's pretty fair to say that it's getting retro status. Like, I think it's about time. It's about time. Yeah.
When more of the consoles that you find are broken and non-functional than functional, I think at that point maybe a retro should be considered.
Yeah. Oh, wait until PS4 becomes retro. Yikes.
When PS4 becomes retro, though, at least we'll have PS5s that can play PS4s. The really rough thing about PS3 is that just nothing else plays PS3 except for some emulation, basically. Like, and hopefully the games that you missed on that console got ported over to something more modern. It's just tricky.
Yeah, I think the big thing is just having these games accessible. Like, I retro or not, it doesn't much matter. It's just another tag on the list of tags.
It's just one more thing for us to wax intellectual about or to be pedantic about. So
yeah, I roll my eyes every time. I'm like, I just don't care. It's a game's a game. But what's important is just being available, like you said. Like, please. Yeah, because I don't necessarily care for a remake or remaster as long as it's available for purchase and I don't need to go through emulators. Then I think that's good.
So hey Baku, guess what?
What's up?
We got a voicemail.
Hey,
Let's do it.
It's Tool Man. I hope this hasn't been asked already, but what are your top favorite battle systems in JRPGs? So specifically turn-based, what are your favorite battle systems? There's so many different good ones out there. I love system in Chrono Trigger. You get the dual and triple techs. It's very fast-paced. Suikoden with its auto battles and its unites, I think they're called, and a whole host of others. Yeah, so what are your favorites and why?
Yeah, well, thanks, Toolman. So he's asking about our favorite battle systems from turn-based RPGs, and I'll go ahead and I'll stall a little bit for you to think about your favorite battle systems, but because I already heard the voicemail in advance, so I've had a little bit of time to think about some of my absolute favorites. And I think that the very first one I've got to say that just I cannot not say it. It is Chrono Cross. The battle system of Chrono Cross. And I'm not just saying that to meme on you, because I know you don't particularly love it. But the combat system where your accuracy increases as you do more physical attacks and then unlocks additional magic. You don't have to worry about managing your MP, unlocking the tabs and I think that's a lot of fun, and I wish that more games did that. Now, it was not necessarily, in my opinion, used to its full potential. Like, I think that it could have been even made better if like other rougher parts of the game were a little bit more fleshed out. Like maybe if they pared down on all of the characters and just kind of made more dual and triple text between like a more core set of people. But I think that's one that I just can't not mention. But yeah, Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger are both absolutely incredible, especially when you consider Chrono Trigger's outside of combat, but the way that you enter and engage in combat. Like I think that it's really easy to overlook just how seamless of a transition that is when you like hit that enemy and then they just like move into position on the field and then you're fighting. It's just already happening there. You know, I think that is pretty dang sweet.
Okay. Yeah. So, but for the record, for the record, I do not dislike Chrono Cross for its battle system. I thought Chrono Cross battle system was very innovative, and I do wish that. I mean, was it execute well? Maybe not, but I respect the fact that they tried something wholly different.
I can't believe I just pressured you into saying something nice about Chrono Cross.
What do you mean? I love Chrono Cross like soundtrack. I thought it was one of the best soundtrack ever made. There are definitely things I like about it.
All right, at this point I am just memeing, but what kind of what are some of your favorites though?
I was only laughing because in my head, I'm like, he's going to say Chrono Cross. I don't know why I thought you're going to say Chrono Cross. And as soon as he said Chrono Cross, I was like, I knew it. You know, and this is going to be another surprise for people, but my favorite turn-based battle system, believe it or not, is Trails in the Sky.
You know what? That's pretty close on my list also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get into this whole like what's turn-based and what's not turn-based, because all I have to say is I don't think ATB is turn-based, and I can already see a sea of people going like, oh, it is turn-based. What do you mean? And a bunch of people are like, oh, he's right, it's not turn-based, because turn-based is technically this. Let's just talk strictly no time related turn-based. So I think Trails in the Sky is definitely turn-based, where you get to move your character within like a grid system, and then like the AoE, like the area of effect matters. I think that's a lot of fun. I love that kind of battle system, as opposed to more of a DQ kind of system where it's just like, oh, turn, menu, select, attack, boom, and then you see like an attack animation. I like the dimension of being able to move, like some tactical element where you can move your character around in that turn-based battle. It's a little tedious for some folks because you can't just like breeze through it, right? You have to command your unit to move around. There's auto battle, sure, but that's only available for like some of the later renditions, right? Like the original games, there is not. So that have saved my sanity through like some like random, you know, nobody monster battles. But especially when it comes to like boss battles, you have to really think hard, like where you placing your characters and the turn, and how do you know, what skill to use, what do you do next. That battle system gets really deep, and I really like it.
I also really enjoyed the combat system of Octopath Traveler. Being able to strategically like switch people in and out of the back row, being able to build up they're not called brave points, are they? Like not in
brave points?
What are they? Where you build up the points that allow you to like attack multiple times in a round. I can't remember what it's called anymore at this point. They're not brave points though, are they? That's Bravely Default that I'm thinking
That's Bravely Default. Yeah. Which game were you thinking about?
Octopath.
Oh, Octopath. Octopath is like boost, I think.
Boost points. That's it. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I still haven't played the Bravely Default games, and I really should. I just don't have a method of capturing them, so maybe someday down the line. But also just even regular, honest, just straight up Dragon Quest. I think that's a big reason that I just love the genre in general, is that even even just like the bog standard turn-based RPG, you know, the bottom of the barrel, the you know, the template against which everything else is just kind of crafted upon. is still just so fun for me in some cases, not always, but in a lot of cases it works for me. So even so even games like you know Final Fantasy X, Dragon Quest 11 that like only barely tweak some of that system a little bit here and there are still just, oh, I love them.
Yeah, no, Octopath Traveler is definitely on top, like not top, like definitely up there on my list as well. It's like strictly turn-based combat. The break and boost like sort of system.
Yeah. Have you played Grandia? Have you played
I have
Grandia
not
before?
played Grandia, no.
Oh, Baku.
It's one of those games in the past that I didn't get my hands on, and then it wasn't available until like later on through emulators, and I just didn't have the will to go back. But then
Yeah.
there's like Grandia like HD, so I don't really have an excuse not to play it anymore. Like it is
Well,
available, I can get it.
when I first played through Trails in the Sky, I was like, this is
Mhm.
just an updated Grandia. Like that
Oh,
is that was my very first impression of it, and why my whole review was kind of centered about how it's like a follow up to that series. I thought.
hmm.
So if you're into Trails, check out Grandia if you get a chance, because
Yeah, I mean, people spoke really highly of
it's
Grandia.
a
It's
beautiful
definitely
game.
something I should look into. Absolutely.
And if anybody at home wants to send us a voicemail, you can do so too at 785-337-3805. Or otherwise, you could just email us at hitpoint at superderekRPGs.com.
Heck yeah.
All right.
All right.
Let's move this along to delays.
Yikes.
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 Well, this is going to be kind of a bit of a bummer for people who like getting games. So Front Mission 2's remake is unfortunately getting moved back from June of 2023, which was going to be, next month,
Yeah.
to Q3 of 2023, which is
Couple months.
a few months away.
Yeah.
In their statement from the developer, Forever Entertainment, they said, as the premiere date for Front Mission 2 Remake approaches, we have made the decision to postpone the release of the game on Nintendo Switch. The decision is not taken lightly, but in collaboration with the development team, we want to ensure that we have sufficient time to add as many functionalities as possible while proceeding with proper implementation and tests in order to meet your expectations for a modern day remake. We understand the anticipation surrounding Front Mission 2 Remake and the excitement you have shown throughout its development. Please rest assured that we are fully committed to delivering a polished and faithful remake of your beloved franchise. And there's a link that we'll have down below where you can read that if you feel the need. But long story short, sounds like they just want a little bit more time for polish, and that's fine. Let them have it, I say.
Yeah, absolutely. We're no rush. We have so many games, and like the Front Mission 1 remake did not meet like a stellar reception, let's say.
Did it not?
So yeah, I feel like they're I'm hoping that they're taking all the feedback and sifting out all like the hate comments and all the trolls, but really taking like any good feedback and implement it in this remake. That they have another chance to do this basically again and do it better.
ChatGPT is working overtime to suss out which comments to pay attention to.
Right? Yeah, give them some time. Maybe the second one will fix a lot of things that people didn't like on the first one. We'll see. It's the same developer that they're going through this, so they're in prime position to take like all the constructive criticism and put it into the next game. They're also working on Front Mission 3, so the remake. So hey, that this is like second try for them. So I hope they do well. I really do love the Front Mission series. I have not played the first remake, but I do plan on it at some point. Tactical games just takes a lot of energy out of me. But it's one of those series that I grew up with, so I'm hoping they do well.
Yeah. Well, that does it. I say that is the end of the bad news.
Yes, the end of the bad news. That's the only delay.
That's right. The only delay.
Woo.
So it's time for us to talk about some of the upcoming releases and such.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of new game announcements because of the Sony showcase and whatnot. So we're gonna go through these pretty quickly. The PS5 port for the Caligula Effect Overdose will be released in a couple of days on the 30th. This game features a story written by Tadashi Satomi, who was responsible for the scenario, characters, and setting for the original Persona game. So if you have not checked out the Caligula Effect and you are a Persona fan, it could be worth your while, at least in the story. You know that it's someone who was responsible for the original Persona story, right? So if you want more of those kind of story, darker stories that deals with like, teenagers and, was it the kind of things that they have to fight against with society, then definitely check out the Caligula Effect and also the Caligula Effect 2, really.
Yeah. Following that, we have Decarnation. We talked about this last week, so it's really kind of more just a reminder that the 2D psychological horror adventure that Baku is continuing to make me talk about, Decarnation, will be released on the 31st for the Nintendo Switch and PC via Steam. Hooray!
Yay! Your favorite kind of games.
My favorite.
Now let's talk about my favorite kind of game. Dungeon Crawler. Dungeon Crawler fans rejoice. The HD version and Etrian Odyssey 1 through 3 will be bundled together in the upcoming Etrian Odyssey Origins collection. Now, if you don't want the bundle, you're just a fan of the second game and not 1 and 3. Yeah. Well, you should feel pretty good that you can actually purchase the 3 games separately as an individual game.
Okay.
Or you can just buy all 3 in a bundle.
You may as well just buy all 3 in the bundle, I think. But I mean, I don't know what they're selling the bundle for.
I actually don't know how. I think it's like $60 for 3 games, and it's like 20.
Yeah,
it's like something right. Like $20 a game. Yeah, it's for 3 games. I mean, it is an older game, but if you want to play all 3, conveniently in a single console, it might not be a bad idea. We do have a trailer that we can look at, so we can remind ourselves what we're talking about.
Okay, yeah, let's take a look at this real quick. Hang on. There we go. Hang on. That's not showing anything. Let me see if I need to fix this for a moment.
Oh no, Derek needs to fix things. So,
So time for Baku to stall for me.
Yes, I'm just gonna read some comments. Hey, Eggrow buddy. Also, Mr. Invalid says to check your attic for squatters.
Oh, check the attic for squatters.
Yes.
That's probably a good idea. Don't want any squatters leaving me any presents or anything in my attic.
Right. The most professional podcast on the internet. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We're just high tech all over the place. Yeah. Did you know that Derek and I both work in IT?
True.
Oh, man. Yes. Grandia. You compare Grandia to Lunar, 10,000 Noodles says.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that Lunar and Grandia are very similar, especially tonally, but I think that the battle systems are quite a bit different. But at least, I mean, both of them are made by Game Arts, which are both phenomenal.
I do like Lunar.
Lunar is awesome. By the way, I think I fixed it. So let's try that again.
Yes.
Oh, there, if I full screen it. There we go.
Ready to dive back into the depths of the labyrinth, explorers? Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection remasters 3 timeless adventures for the first time in HD.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Every great Odyssey.
I'm glad that they did this because I know a lot of people were big fans of the original Etrian Odyssey on the DS.
Yeah.
And its fate was really kind of up in the air. Like, we had no idea if or how they could do this.
I'm kind of glad to see this because it makes me feel like more DS games can be made and be featured in more modern consoles. And then there were a lot of DS games that were really fun, but depended on the dual screen nature for it to work.
Yeah.
some games like what was it? The World Ends with You. I think didn't do great as a remake or like a modern HD version that they released. It's like something was missing about the way that they implemented it, but some other games I feel like could do really well if they can figure it out. So I'm kind of hoping that this is going to be one of those where they do figure it out. So as you can see, there are 3 different DLCs. So we can talk a little bit about that. So this game is coming out on June 1st, being released on the Switch and PC via Steam. The pre-order is open right now. And if you pre-order the game, you will get the character portrait DLCs for the respective games. So there's one for the first game, one for the second game, and one for the third game. If you buy the collection, of course, you get all 3 DLCs. So some incentives for getting the pre-order. I think they're all from like SMT. All the portraits from SMT, either SMT like mainline games or Persona games. I remember seeing Joker in one of those, and like Aegis in like another one. So yeah, check that out.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally this week we've got We Love Katamari REROLL plus Royal Reverie. The newest Katamari game called We Love Katamari REROLL plus Royal Reverie will be released in just a few days on the 2nd, which is just what day is the 2nd, actually? I need a calendar here. The 2nd's on Friday. Okay, so keep your eyes peeled for that. It's coming out on all modern platforms, and we have a trailer for that if you want to give that a gander as well.
Yep. It's been a while since we talked about this one. I don't know what kind of game to call this. Is this a puzzle game? Should we call this puzzle?
Kind of?
Yeah, like what do we even call this? How do I categorize this?
What is a I don't know. I wouldn't call it. I mean, sure, maybe a puzzle, but like, it's way more.
Yeah, what do you call this? What should we call this?
I don't even know. Like, I'm just drawing a blank. What?
Yeah, what do we call this?
Someone says a genre-defying game.
Action puzzle.
Action puzzle.
Puzzle action.
How about a racing game? We'll call it a racing game.
We'll call it a racing game. Yeah.
Yep. It's basically because the ball is your car and you're just driving around. It's a driving sim.
It's a driving sim.
Or is it like a god sim? Yeah. Just a very particular kind of god.
It's a world domination game. By rolling.
It's a war sim.
It's a war sim, yes.
Real-time strategy.
Yeah. So
it's weird. I don't know what I would call this.
Yeah, what would you call it? I was thinking about that as I was writing this. I was like, what do I want to call this? Like, yeah, but so yeah, the Royal Reverie, that's like a new game mode that's added to this. That where you can play as basically your dad when he was young, basically. That's what I'm getting from this.
Okay, so according to Wikipedia, it's a third-person puzzle action game.
Oh, okay. It's action puzzle.
I guess.
I guess.
I don't know. It still doesn't quite seem to fit. Like, but you know what? That's all right. That's for other people to discuss and ponder. Yeah.
Yeah. Call it what you want, but man, the game looks great.
It just seems like it doesn't do the game justice to just call it a puzzle game or an action puzzle.
So simply, right?
Yeah. But because it's just so weird. It's a weird 'em up is what I'll call it. It's a weird 'em up. Yep.
Yeah, my friend brought this game over. I forgot which title it was, but it's one of the Katamari titles. We had a blast. We just took turns just like rolling things up, and I'm telling you, like, if you guys never tried this game, it's just wacky fun. It's a great time sink for anyone who's just looking to mindlessly plays something colorful and great music and just kind of all kinds of wacky. So yeah, definitely check that out.
All right. So then what we have left to talk about for now are some new games that have been announced. So let's switch sections. And you want to talk about this one here?
Oh boy, this is where the
the meat begins.
Yeah, this is where the meat begins. Okay, let's start with a DLC announcement for Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Koei Tecmo announced the first DLC pack for their newest action RPG, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, and it's called Battle of Zongyang. It is set to release in about a month from now on June 29th, and it'll add new stages, difficulties, and enemies, and an additional weapon type. For anyone who's interested in Wolong Fallen Dynasty. No trailers, but we will leave a link to an official tweet in the description down below after the show is over.
Yeah. All right. Well, this one's kind of got me a little bit excited to see the trailer because I've not seen the trailer for this one, but the artwork is super interesting, and it's from Japanese indie developer Atelier Mimina, who previously gave us Giraffe and Anika. They just announced their latest 3D sci-fi action RPG called HARUKA Beyond the Stars. It's set in the far future. The protagonist, Yuki, will be traveling and exploring unique planets with a mysterious girl named Mia. So we have a trailer for this as well that I'm actually very excited to see because the artwork just looked incredible. And
okay, the trailer also look really good.
Yeah, and I knew I had to throw this in the thumbnail as the big draw. Like that it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's got like I don't want to say around PS3 era kind of like RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks really good. It's got a little bit of Ghibli in there, but not quite.
I can see that.
Just a little bit of Ghibli in there.
It's like Ni no Kuni in space.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I don't want to say every time I see something, it's like, oh, it's Ghibli. It's like, no, there's definitely a little bit of it in there.
But I can definitely see that though. Like it's got the same kinds of characters, the same kind of proportions, the same kind of eyes. Like I think it's definitely at least inspired.
Yeah. It looks fantastic. It looks very similar to their previous game as well. Giraffe and Anika.
Yeah. And that
that's like a 2020 game.
So cool.
Yeah, I am super excited for this. Super excited.
But unfortunately, we're going to have to wait a little while for more details because the game's actually planned for sometime in 2025. Released a little trailer a little bit early, but I mean, that's the other thing is if you thought that this game looked a little too PS3 for your tastes, it's because it is still very early in development. I don't know if they're going to change that very much in the coming years, or if that's kind of just they've nailed down the aesthetic and here's what it's going to look like, or if they're going to continue trying to polish. Who knows? But it's being developed for PlayStation 5, the Nintendo Switch, and PC. So keep in mind the Switch might hold it back a little bit from its graphical fidelity, but I mean, it looks like it would run really nicely on a Switch, as is.
2025 is still having games released on the Switch is crazy, but
that is the other thing for sure. Like, I think that's optimistic, but I mean, then again, Nintendo has not even announced or hinted at another console yet.
That's fair. Yeah. I'm surprised that they haven't said anything about PS4 if it's going to be available on the Switch. So I'm kind of curious as to why that may be the case. But it looks heckin' good. Okay, we've got another one here with no trailer. This is coming from Nisa. They have announced the newest Harvest Moon game called Harvest Moon: The Winds of Anthos, and it will be released worldwide on September 26th. it is kind of strange to me that they've announced it, but they don't have like a trailer, especially with Nisa. They're usually pretty good about it. But the pre-order is available on Nisa stores. So hey, if you are a Farming Sims fan, yeah, and you're definitely going to want to get your hands on the newest Harvest Moon. But also, just as a kind of a teaser, we're going to be talking about a lot of Farming Sims games in today's show. So stick around. If Harvest Moon is not your cup of tea, we do have a couple of other titles that we'll talk about.
Farming Sims are so hot right now.
Yeah, right. Right.
I remember another episode of HitPoint just a couple weeks ago was like 50% Farming Sims. Are there many repeats? I wonder.
I wonder.
Well, we'll find out. But before we talk about that, we've got one here from developer Octeto Studios and published by P-Cube called Sky Oceans Wings for Hire. It's a new turn-based RPG that is said to be inspired by Skies of Arcadia. Play as captain of the Sky Pirate crew and engage in turn-based dogfights. You can find the trailer right here.
Here's another game that I thought you might be interested in.
Yeah, no. As somebody who's never actually played Skies of Arcadia, I've heard so many good things, but
yeah,
it's hard to be like, oh yeah, new Skies of Arcadia type of game, because like I don't know if but I think this looks very pretty so far.
So instead of like turn-based battle like in person like Skies of Arcadia, they're actually doing
it's the dogfights.
Dogfights, yeah. So I'm like, interesting. Okay, that's their entire game.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Cool. I kind of dig it. I mean, if they could do, turn-based combat with mecha, I mean, is there really any point in not doing it with airplanes? It's, sure, why not? So it's going to be coming out sometime this year for PS5, Xbox Series X, S, Switch, and PC.
Yes, so you don't have to wait until 2025 for this one.
Heckin' A.
All right, the next game that I personally want to talk about this one, and to answer some question that our friend Mr. Invalid raised the other day that I failed to address because I completely forgot about it by the end of my stream. And this game is called Infinity Strash Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai, a really long title if you ask me. Square Enix announced the release date for their newest DQ spin-off action RPG called Infinity Strash DQ: The Adventure of Dai. The game is actually based on a 90s DQ spin-off manga called The Adventure of Dai. So in case people wondering like where the heck this come from, this actually came out from the 90s. And they had an original anime that went up only to a certain point of the manga because the manga went way beyond the initial anime release. And then they made a remake of the anime with a different studio, updated art style, full HD, just a completely redone anime that came out a couple years ago that went all the way to the conclusion of the story. Which
is it done now?
Oh, it's done. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe I should give it a watch.
Yeah. Now, so which is kind of cool. And I don't know, but I think this game will actually cover the entire adventure of Dai from start to finish instead of like ending in the middle like the original anime. So without spoilers, the adventure of Dai features an orphan named Dai who grew up peacefully in an island filled with friendly monsters. So as I was writing, I was like, oh, he grew up in an island filled with monsters. It's like, no, they're friendly monsters. They're the DQ monster kind of monster, where they hang out with you and they do stuff. So friendly monsters. And Dai has always dreamed of being a hero. And because there's this one monster who like chiefly raised Dai, and he's just kind of known as Gramps. And he would tell Dai all like the adventure of the hero Avon, and he wants to be like the next hero, and that's kind of like how this entire like adventure started. Was just he just wanted to be a hero.
Yeah.
So it's a really good manga series, and I feel uniquely qualified to talk about it because I'm a longtime fan and I've read every single volume.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So what exactly is a Strash? Which is what Mr. Invalid asked. Like, what's a Strash? Infinity Strash. What the heck is a Strash? Okay. So,
I know what it is. Can I
you?
guess? I think I do.
You? Okay.
It's the mix between a strike and a slash.
Maybe. Now I don't know where the word actually came from, but it's actually the name of the ultimate technique that the hero Avon used to defeat the Dark Lord 15 years prior to the event of the story. So so the word Strash, that's where it came from. It's probably, like you said, a mix between a strike and a slash. So there you go. There you go, Mr. Invalid. Hopefully that answers the question of what exactly is a Strash. What the heck is that? It's a technique. It's an in universe technique. Yeah. And we do have a trailer, English trailer this time that we can take a look. Yeah, what?
Sweet.
Yeah, I know. English voice acting. Can you believe that?
No, I can't. Here, let me add that to our list of trailers real quick.
Let's do it.
Hang on.
Oh, I thought that was the only one. Oh, no. Yeah.
There we go. I'll just
You got it?
there we go.
We go.
Long ago, when the gods first created this world, the gods of dragons, darklings, and humans convened and came to an agreement to create a being with the strength of dragons, the magic power of darklings, and the heart of humans.
I'm kind of excited about the fact that this is a Dragon Quest action RPG too.
Yeah, so well, I mean, now that they said it in the trailer, basically Dai is like the descendant of Dragon Knights, which again, like the trailer just said, is the magical power of demons, the strength of a dragon, and the heart of a human, right? So he's sort of like the ultimate being.
Life form.
Basically. But he didn't know that growing up.
Oh yeah.
Because he was an orphan. He was just raised by a bunch of monsters. They didn't even know that he has these powers, and discovering his power and just like seeing like the reality of what it means to be a hero is basically like the premise of the story.
Does he grow up over the course of the story? Because I think I've seen a few different character models of him so far.
He matures, but he's gonna be basically the same design.
Okay.
Like he'll wear different like armor and have different like visuals as the story progresses, but as a person, cool. He looks more or less the same, just more mature by the end of the game, the end of the series.
Yeah, you know what? If they can make this gameplay, if they can make this game a replacement for watching the anime or reading the manga, like where it does not omit anything, and then maybe then some, and like side quests and stuff.
That would be cool.
I would love to play this. Like this could be an incredible game.
I'm definitely playing this just to relive my childhood. I am so reliving my childhood through this. But yes, if you pre-order now, you can get the DQ3 hero outfit, which I might actually pre-order after the show. The game is slated to release in September 28th of this year on PS4, 5, Switch, and PC. So plenty of ways to play.
Yeah, awesome. Well, next up, we've got a little known game from NISA. They've given us an international release date for the upcoming game called Disgaea. I don't know. Who knows? It could be any disgust. Disgaea 7. Vow of the Virtueless. And we have a story trailer teaser for it as well.
Heck yeah, let's go.
All right. So, of course, if you're into Disgaea, you're already over the moon for this. I've never played a Disgaea game.
I wasn't sure if like Derek just wasn't able to pronounce it or he was just having a stroke.
Yeah. Does anybody else smell toast?
Oh no, it's just the left side of your body feeling kind of numb there, Derek.
Yeah, but it's only because I'm sitting on my leg weird.
Oh no. Maybe adjust your legs a little bit.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, this Disgaea art looks pretty dang incredible too.
Yeah.
Like I would be lying if I said that like the some of the aesthetics of like the old Disgaea games, like being 2D, like maybe that was a little bit of a deterrent from me. I don't know. I don't know if it was or not, but I think this looks pretty cool.
Disgaea series is a fun game series.
It doesn't take itself very seriously, as I understand it.
Yes. It's 50% plot and 50% jokes. And I quite liked it myself.
The fact of the matter is, Miss Perillica is not simply here on holiday. She's here to collect the 7
And like there's a lot of post-game content.
Yeah.
Like you play through the main mainline story, and then you're like, okay, I'm done. No, that's just the beginning of the post game. Like you go up to like level 100 for like the main game, and then like you can go up to like level 99,999 for like the post game sections and all the DLCs, and yeah, it gets pretty crazy.
Yeah, I see that like the numbers like just do 9 million damage with one hit. It's like, yeah, it's just ridiculous, right?
Yeah, 10 trillion damage. Sure, why not?
Why? It's kind of a funny way to like lampoon the whole concept of like games that do like extra damage to be like, oh, look how powerful this attack is. And you're like, well, my game has the most powerful attacks of all time.
Oh man, yeah, I really like D1 and D2. I think I played some of D3, and then I just like didn't really continue on with it. But for all the games that I played, I really like them.
That's cool. Well, if you are into these, then expect to be playing them in early October, because they're coming out on the 3rd for North America, October 6th for the European Union, and the 13th for Australia and New Zealand for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC.
And the Switch.
And the Switch. Yes, there it is. And the Nintendo Switch.
And the Nintendo Switch. Just almost forgot you there. But don't worry, Mr. Invalid's here, so I remember the Switch.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, his favorite system, by the way. All right. Next up, we've got... oh my God. This is where the headache begins. Okay, so we had a lot of games that were talked about, shown on the PlayStation Showcase that happened on the 24th. We will not talk about every single game that were shown, but we will talk about a couple that we feel that you all would be interested in. Starting with Phantom Blade Zero, which is being developed by S Game and Cruel Man Studio. It is a new action RPG with like super smooth and fast-paced combat, centered around a protagonist who is said to only have 66 days left to live.
That's right.
Yeah. So before we look at the trailer, I do want to correct something here. Some media outlets is misreporting this as a samurai game. That is not true. I think they see like the straw hat in the store. They're like, oh yeah, this is samurai. It is not a samurai game. This game actually features Chinese martial arts, wushu, with a blend of like a steampunk and traditional Chinese aesthetics. So just to clear the air, it is not, and I say not, a samurai game. Let's take a look at the trailer so we can see it for ourselves.
Okay. Yeah, let's take a look here. Man, I don't know about you, but I can't wait till we talk about Square Enix's Splatoon.
It's not here.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. I was gonna include it, but then I'm like, we're just gonna pile on and crap on it.
I know.
It's not even RP. I'm just like, I'm gonna let this go. I don't want my blood.
I saw the Square Enix logo and I was like, and then they showed that. And I'm like, but yeah, this looks cool. This trailer got me really
So like I
very
think one
interested.
outlet wrote samurai game, and then you know how outlets like to copy like, oh well, here's the samurai game,
copy
and then the
paste.
outlets like, oh, here's the samurai game. Yeah. So no, it is not a freaking samurai game.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, to be fair, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh, cool. It kind of looks like you know,
Like a Neo kind of deal.
I was thinking Neo. I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
the Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know
Yeah.
why my mind went there, but like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
I can see that, yeah, but you weren't reporting on it, right?
that's true. That's true.
So I feel like they should do some like fact checking before they decide to like announce it as such, if that makes sense.
I mean, the fact that the blade is not curved should be a pretty dead giveaway that it's not a.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, that
I've studied
Wushu
Wushu. I looked
is
at it. I'm
pretty
like,
rad.
it's Wushu. I'm like, this is not a samurai game, guys. Please. But yeah, but there's so the steampunk elements coming in, or the I don't know what. Well, they call it steampunk. That's the word that's taken from the developers. Okay, so I
Oh.
didn't
Okay.
decide that this is steampunk. They said steampunk.
Okay.
Yeah. Just want to make that clear before people go like, that's not steampunk. Hey, don't get mad at me. I took that wording directly from the developers, okay?
That's right.
I've also checked to see if the developers claimed this is a samurai game. They did not. Yeah, just in case.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I've given the outlets a benefit of doubt. I'm like, did the developer called it a samurai game? Is that the reason why? No, they did not.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is closer to like Wolong kind of like
Now, I will say a lot of the combat looks really cool, but I also noted that like a lot of it that I'm seeing here just
yeah.
feels like like the
Cinematic?
game's playing itself. Yeah, a cinematic. Like I don't know if they can do a lot of this in real time, but like that whole like dashing while swiping a bunch of times, maybe that's a special move that he did. But like,
Could be.
or like the thing where like the guy kicked one guy while stabbing in the other direction. Like
yeah.
that also seemed like a when would anybody actually use this except for highly choreographed situations?
Never.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it looks cool, right? But that's kind of where we stand with it. It looks cool. We don't know how it plays, how that will work. Anything else would be speculation. But yeah, we'll just have to wait to see what it actually comes out to be like. So far, so good. So far, so good. Color me, interested in this. So no time frame, by the way, on the release, but it is being developed for PS5 and PC.
Now, this next one is actually kind of exciting to me, not because I personally care about it, you know, but because I know some people who really loved the original and having Alan Wake 2 announced was, man, I just know that their face lit up when they heard that it's finally happening. Because this has been such a fan favorite for so long, and the fact that they announced it at a PS5 event was kind of interesting. You know, because previously Alan Wake had been a Xbox 360 exclusive to, you know, a sequel to a retro game. Anyways, so survival horror game Alan Wake from Remedy Entertainment is getting a sequel called Alan Wake 2, and we have the trailer for it also.
Let's do it.
But yeah, I remember Alan Wake 1 was like the creepy game where you had a flashlight, and that was like, I think that was the first game where, or one of the first games where a flashlight was like your defense against the darkness.
The darkness.
The darkness.
I'm glad you're on this case with me, Anderson. It's right.
But man, how long must this have been in some kind of development? Kind of surprised that it wasn't.
Special Agent Robert Nightingale.
Yeah.
So you knew Al Victim.
Kind of surprised that there wasn't more information about this leaked prior, or maybe there was. I just don't follow leakers.
Yeah, I've seen some leaks, but
It's for us. The text is about
I don't take it too seriously until I see like the real thing.
So yeah, that's right. Alan Wake is he's an author, right?
Yes.
He's a horror author who gets like sucked into his own writings or something. Which is
something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I never played the original because, you know, horror games aren't exactly my forte, and I'm pretty sure I might spontaneously combust if I ever plugged in an Xbox 360.
The red ring of death. Is that 360? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it just bursts into flame.
Alan Wake 2. Man, that's exciting. I'm happy for everybody who's been waiting for that since forever.
It looks so good.
It does.
It looks so good.
I mean, even though it looks a little scary. Anyways, yeah, you saw it's coming out on the 17th of October, so just in time for Halloween. It's coming out on PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. Almost said Switch, but nope. And Remedy Entertainment also revealed that Alan Wake 2 will be a digital-only release across all platforms as a way to keep the price of the game at $60 on consoles and $50 on PC.
Yeah, I think that's the big piece of news that I just like completely forgotten to add in. I was like, as we were reading, I was like, oh right, I forgot to add this piece of information. Here you go, Jared. Read some more.
I wonder if PlayAsia will come to our aid here in this case.
That's a good question. I don't know what that's gonna be like at the end of the day. You know, I was thinking maybe companies like limited what is it, limited run game, there's something like that would be able to handle like a limited time physical release. That would be interesting. For a non PlayAsia solution anyways, because PlayAsia really, they're just releasing the physical copy of like Southeast Asia, and we just end up buying it, right? But that still requires the company to publish it officially one way or another. Whereas like a limited run games, kind of like limited run physical, is very different. They treat it more as a like a limited time item, and that's it. But the game will otherwise not have a physical release. So I could kind of see something like that. Yeah. All right. Next up, Konami really surprised us with this one. I didn't think they were in the business of making games anymore. So what did they surprise us with? A teaser trailer for the newest Metal Gear Solid game called Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, a remake of the Metal Gear Solid 3 game. It's not much of a trailer, but it is kind of a teaser. I mean, take a look at it so that we can kind of like geek out together.
Yeah, sure. You know, I was a little bit like, I was very surprised, and then I was really excited, and then I was like, wait a minute, Kojima's not involved. And then I was like, oh, he doesn't have to be involved because it's a remake of a game that he already directed. So yeah, as long as they remain faithful to it.
I am kind of split on this. On the one hand, yes, Konami did not treat our friend Kojima with the kindness of of departure, right? But on the other hand, you know, Konami as a company is made with many people, and maybe the people who made those decisions aren't even in the company anymore, right? So if Konami wants to make good faith efforts to make games again, sure, you know, let's see what that looks like, right?
Yeah, let's see it.
But if it turns out to be another hot mess, then we know.
Yeah, if they pump it full of microtransactions or something, then yeah, let's not. But
freaking EA games, yeah.
Well, we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they would, you know, go back and make some games, because, you know, Suikoden is Konami. So I'm hoping that they come back you know, turn around and make some good games again. And, you know, maybe Suikoden could be next. And other Konami games, like, I don't know. What's one that I
Ganbare
really
Goemon?
liked? Sure. That's one. Yeah, that's one for the platformers out there. Zone of Enders. I would love to see a new Zone of Enders. Like a new modern Zone of Enders would be amazing. But it requires Konami to either release their IPs or actually go back and make good games again.
Yep.
One or the other, right?
That's right.
So fingers crossed that they actually go and, you know, try to make some good games. Oh, Castlevania is another one, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Castlevania.
Yeah. They have a lot of great IPs. For years, they've kind of turned their backs on gamers and just like didn't really like, you know, make anything good or new.
Yeah.
That could change. They're coming up with the Suikoden HD like remaster release.
How about a new
soon,
Contra?
right? Oh, a new Contra would be interesting.
Could be.
New Contra would be interesting. Yeah, but there's so much potential. So I'm rooting for them to come back with these games.
Yeah,
right.
You know, for the longest time, my hope was that they would just sell off the IPs when they realized they no longer made games. This is okay as a second option. You know, if they're gonna do it right, then you know, let's hope for the best.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, there's
I'm
nothing
not getting
to go
my hopes
off on
up
right
yet.
now.
Not getting my hopes up. I'm gonna hype responsibly. Shop.superdarkrpgs.com. But
heck yeah, get the shirt.
But otherwise, yeah, I'll just keep my mind open for the time being. Let's see what they do. And
and Silent Hill. Silent Hill. They had this whole thing with Silent Hill that they're coming back with, right? They are trying to come back to games. Give them a little bit of space. Let's see if they can get it right.
Yeah. We'll judge the food by the taste, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So next up, Capcom had a surprise for us. It's just killing it right now, giving fans yet another game to look forward to. The that's not right. The highly anticipated sequel to the narrative-driven action RPG Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming.
Speaking of sequel,
let's take a look at the. No, that's not on there. Let me grab that.
No, it is.
I see. I see it. Okay.
Yep, I got it.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, wait, huh?
I don't know. That's weird.
I think the
I have to click it.
Yeah.
Nope, that didn't work either.
No, I think the address is incorrect here. Yeah, hold on. Give me a sec. I think I got it.
All right. Just a second, guys. Working through some technical difficulties. But yeah, sorry for the fake out on the Breath of Fire thing.
There we go.
Low-hanging fruit. Did you figure it out?
Yeah, I posted in the chat.
Oh, posted in the chat. Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, let me copy that. Throw that in here.
See if we can get that working.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll use this one instead. See if that works.
No? Oh, you know what? They require like a age verification on this one. For some reason. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe that's
restricted video requested by uploader. Okay, there we go. Yeah, no, that's where it's do you have to hit open?
Here, let me see if I can. Okay, maybe I'll just share it on my screen.
Okay.
Sure. And instead of through the special thing. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah. I'm good with that. Let me remove the links from our watch list. So that there it is.
Oh yeah. So first thoughts when I saw the cart was hey you'll finally awake. God dang it, Howard.
Man.
I caught you trying to slip over the the border to Skyrim. Man, though, this game is quite pretty. That is quite the trailer.
Yeah, we were talking about this game on my live stream, and yeah, this is basically Japan's answer to the West on making a Western RPG. Because remember how we had this whole talk about like JRPG
Versus
like a couple months ago,
WRPG and
right? And we were saying how like Western developers were just basically, you know, along with the media too, was just nonstop like, you know, crapping on Japanese developers for making like, oh, look at this anime game that you make with all the harem and all the cute waifus, yeah, you know. And so the Capcom's like, all right, hold my beer.
hold my
let me
tankard.
show you how to make a Western RPG better than how y'all do it. And then Dragon Dogma came out, and people just lost their collective mind on what they're able to do. So I mean, Dragon Dogma is only one of them. Dark Souls is another, right? Where it's a more Western style RPG, and wouldn't you know it, it has a strong following. So I feel like, you know, this is gonna go somewhere.
Yeah, this is
Capcom's
exciting
making
for
a good call.
People. And so there's not really any real time frame on the release, but it is currently being developed for the PlayStation 5, the Xbox X, the S, and PC. So
yes,
yeah, we'll need to keep our eyes out for that, and we'll give you more updates when we have them.
Yeah, we'll have to come back at some point. You know, they to be fair, like if anyone's been watching the show for a while, they did talk about Dragon's Dogma 2 before. We just didn't expect them to have something to show so quickly.
Yeah,
they did mention it. That was it like the 20th anniversary of Dragon's Dogma or something. Like they had this whole like little event, and they're like, oh yeah, we're celebrating. It's like, yeah, we're totally gonna make a new game.
You know
and then, you know, that was the big announcement, right?
Funny thing about that is, you know, this is yet another PlayStation exclusive, PlayStation 3 exclusive that is now getting a sequel. It was a retro. It is a retro game that is getting a modern day sequel.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm very happy for it. So good job, Capcom's killing it.
Yeah,
Capcom's killing it with the Monster Hunters and the Resident Evil. Now they're like, Street Fighter is getting pretty warm receptions from my understanding. I'm not into fighting game, but for my friends who are into it, they're pretty hyped for it.
The new trailer. I don't think we're gonna be looking at that trailer today, are we?
Street Fighter, no.
Okay, yeah. And my impressions of that was like, this just looks like Street Fighter with like a character creator, probably. Which is cool. I'm cool with it, but it's kind of interesting.
I guess that's like the new trend, is letting people create their own characters. I think they did it really well in Soul Calibur. So I think that's like the new trend now. And hey, more ways to play. I'm happy for people.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not knocking it. I think it's cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we think it's a cool feature. Okay, so the next game that I want to touch on is a trippy, psychedelic indie 2D Metroidvania game. Try saying that 5 times quickly. Called Ultros. And that was also featured during the showcase. From the game's official description, okay, you wake up stranded after seemingly crashing your ship on the sarcophagus, a giant space-drifting cosmic uterus holding an ancient demonic being known as Ultros. Trapped in the eternal loop of a black hole, you will have to explore the sarcophagus and meet its inhabitants to understand the part you play. Yeah, okay, very trippy. Even the description, like, what?
Yeah.
Who wrote this?
It is a cosmic uterus that holds a demonic being. I mean, isn't that where all demonic beings really come from?
Have you never seen a Marvel comic before? That's where all the bad guys are from. Yeah, we do have a trailer for it.
Let's see what this. Oh, that's right. I saw this before.
Yes,
this is so colorful.
Yes,
and I kind of love it, and I don't know. it's still a little off-putting, but I like it a lot too.
Slightly hurts my eyes, but
It could definitely be one of those games that, like, oh. Now just imagine adding like a glowy or tracer effect to the character and like something out of like just really make everything glow. Why not? Oh, there it is. He had a little bit of that glow effect there.
I think the art looks super amazing.
It does.
Like the aesthetics.
Man, it's almost distracting. The backgrounds are so bright that it's that's cool.
The enemies are even brighter.
I know. And it has to be. You have to make them even brighter because otherwise they just get lost in the background.
Exactly.
That's got to be such a balancing act to handle, and I wonder how it'll be in the long run. But
that's a good question.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Ultros. I mean, the music's pretty too. You know, it's cool.
Yeah. So this game has a planned release sometime in 2024. So sometime next year on PS4, 5, and PC. Yeah, looks pretty good.
So before we dive into the next game, let's rewind the clock just a little bit to the far off time of 2018. Super Derek made a video on his channel that did fairly well called Games That I'm Hyped For in 2018. And in it, I was so hyped because I had seen this trailer for a game called GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink. And I made sure that I was like, I'm hyped for it. I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm hyped for it right now in 2018.
Yeah.
Well, I think we might have gotten our answer here pretty soon. So yeah, the game that I was hyped for back then and that Baku was hyped for now, a new party-based action RPG from Cygames called GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink. Man, this game will feature Japanese and English voice acting, and we got a new trailer for it.
Yes.
And a launch window as well. So let's take a look at GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink.
I was so hyped when I saw this.
Man.
I was so hyped when I saw this. Man, it looks good.
Yeah, it really looks kind of ridiculously good.
Yes.
Now, granted, my standards for what looks incredible now and then has changed a lot since 2018 was prior to the launch of the PS5. You know, my baseline has moved, but it still looks really incredible.
Yeah.
But man, this was my first game that clued me into what the next generation of games would look like. Back when the PS4 was still modern.
Yeah, I do want to like make a mention of this too, and that is the whole thing between Cygames and Platinum Games. So Platinum Games worked on the battle combat system. And a lot of folks, you know, towards the end of the contract, basically, Platinum Games is like, okay, we've done our part, you know, gonna pass this back to Cygames now to complete the game.
Yep.
And then I think people just sort of like misinterpreted that as like, oh, Platinum Games is backing out on this one, and just kind of throwing shade. It's like, no, they're not throwing shade. They're just saying that their part is done. So back to Cygames because they are the IP owners. So stop asking us when the game's going to come out. We did our part. Like, we're contracted to do this thing. We completed it. Here's our announcement that we completed our part. You know, over to, because a lot of people were very interested in the game. Like, oh, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? What's with all the delay? And they're, you know, Platinum Games probably getting
some shade. Yeah.
Well, maybe not shade, but just like a lot of inquiries.
Yeah.
So much so that they're like, hey, listen, I know our name's on the product, and it is, but we're done with our part. So if you got any question, you should really ask Side Games because we're done with our part. And I think people have taken that up as like we're done with this game, like in terms of like our relationship with Side Games.
Yeah, that's not the case.
Nothing has indicated that. I've read all the initial announcement. I read all the initial reportings in Japanese. Nothing indicated like a bad relationship. But of course, there'll always be people who say, "Oh, you should just read between the line." Okay, or I could just read the actual text and say that nothing bad has come out of this relationship. Sure. But hey, people like drama, and they're going to insist on the drama.
Find it,
so
if your job is to find drama and to drudge it up, you're gonna find some. If that means you have to make it. Now, there's still no exact release date, but we do have a launch window that is planned for sometime in winter of 2023 for PS4, PS5, and Steam. So only 5 years after my initial video talking about how excited I am for this game, we're finally gonna see it. Very excited.
It's only been 5 years.
Only 5 years,
only
man.
5 years.
And 2 of them were lockdown years. So it's like, it only feels like 30.
I mean, I feel like the lockdown probably had a lot to do with why the date got extended, extended. Yeah. But we'll see how the end game actually will it live up to a hype. We'll see this winter. All right. Speaking of hype, let's talk about the opposite of hype. What's the opposite of hype?
Dupe.
Dupe. Okay, because there's a lot of dupe with this next item. Let's look at the trailer before we even talk about what it is. Let's just look at the trailer.
Okay, because I don't know how much hype I have for it either. Is this it? Okay.
Using remote play over Wi-Fi. Internally known as Project Q, has an 8-inch HD screen and all of the best features of
It's literally a controller split in half and then just attaching an 8-inch screen in the middle. Like, it's so ugly. My God. Now the earbud looks pretty good.
I was gonna say,
yeah, the earbud's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll talk about it in just a second.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about this. Let's start with the good stuff because, we'll talk about Project Q in a second.
Okay.
The PlayStation earbuds will actually work with PC and smartphones. Now, the reason why I'm kind of interested in this one is because Sony makes good earbuds. Like, say what you want about their Walkman, which aren't great. They do make good wireless earbuds.
What generation of Walkman are you talking about?
The new stuff, like the current
new,
gen,
like Android. Okay.
Yeah, the current gen like Walkmans are basically an expensive piece of like not sure why you would need this if you have a smartphone. And most of us do. And in fact, anyone
because they have a headphone jack, Baku.
I feel like anyone who could afford one of those Walkmans probably has a smartphone, right? So
probably,
yeah, not sure who those are intended for. But the earbuds, they make good earbuds. And so this is not like, Nintendo's, slapping their name on an item that, some other no-name company made. Chances are PlayStation is utilizing Sony in-house like engineers to make these earbuds, and they make good earbuds.
That's my hope. That's my hope is that it's that division, and it's not like PlayStation that's making them, or outsourcing them. They look bespoke. Hopefully they'll be good. And I'm also excited to have a decent pair of wireless earbuds that are not designed to specifically to work with an iPhone. So
absolutely,
like, primarily.
So for that matter, that's the reason why it's important to note that those earbuds will work with PC and smartphone. So you could just use that as like your daily driver for your phone, even when you're not playing games. So you just pair it to a different device, no big deal. So pretty cool. Now, whether or not you like the PlayStation 5 sort of like white and black aesthetics, that's a very subjective thing, but they do make quality earbuds. So there's that. All right, now moving on to like the pile on. I can only do one pile on per episode. So it was
Okay. All right.
either Square Enix making a bubble what is it
Mhm.
called? What is that? Bubble Splatoon. Or
Splatoon.
we can
Yeah.
talk about Project Q, and I decided to dunk on Sony instead.
Okay. Okay.
So
They're a big company. They can take it.
Yeah, they can take it.
Now, I'll just start by saying finally.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people have been waiting for this, but finally, I have exactly what I need to make my PS5 into a Wii U. That's what I've been waiting for my whole life.
Oh man,
Thank you, Sony.
yeah. Thank you, Sony. So just to recap, it is basically a DualSense controller split in half with an 8-inch 1080p display in the middle that will allow you to stream games from your PS5 via remote play, which means that it is not a console. It cannot play games on its own. It is a dedicated bespoke stream device at best. So for anyone who's like, is this a console? It is not. It doesn't play games on its own. It is not a freaking console, okay? So who exactly is this product made for? No idea. No idea. I've thought really hard about it because it would be easy to power on, right? So I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, let's be fair. Who is this product actually made for? Let's be open-minded about it. And I've thought about it for a good 2-3 days. Aside from a small amount of people who really, really want to have a dedicated device to do remote play, which by the way, you can do with your smartphone. And also, and if you really want a controller attached to your smartphone as you do that, they made those,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
Backbone One, right? Which is actually official Sony product too. Oh, no, well, not official Sony product, but officially supported by Sony
Yeah.
as a product, attaches the controller onto like a smartphone with USB Type-C connector. We have those. So what the heck is this for? I don't know. Derek, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Like, why do we need this?
Well, okay. So here's my devil's argument advocate thing. All right. You are 10 and mom and dad don't want you to have a smartphone yet. You don't have a Facebook account. And also you want to play PlayStation 5, but there's only one family TV. And you just really want to play PS5. Okay. Here's the thing. You can use this as your tablet, and you can play. That's about it. That's about it as far as I can, because obviously it's also not going to work with like remote play for other devices. Like, will it?
Yeah,
Like you can't remote
so.
play your PC games or Xbox or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It's only off of the PS5, and
Yeah.
I think they've made it very clear that you can only stream games from your PS5, so not
Yeah.
even off your PS4. So if you don't own a PS5, this product's automatically useless
Now,
to you.
best case scenario, my thought is someone's going to jailbreak this thing. It's going to be, let's say, maybe you could buy it for like $150. That'd be all right. Somebody jailbreaks it, and suddenly it's probably a pretty decent retro emulation machine. That's like my best case scenario, for this thing. Someone's going to jailbreak it, load on some custom ROMs and emulators, maybe make it work with a PC also. It's gonna be one of those things that's gonna be subsidized by the market if it does well, or maybe it's gonna be like the PlayStation TV where Sony releases it, kind of says, here you go, and then they forget about it. That's entirely another possibility. But it's the community support that's gonna like make it useful later. That could be interesting. And the controller itself at least looks somewhat comfortable. So it could be, a cheap deck.
Yeah, they're going up against tough competitions for sure. Yeah,
But that's going to be, something for people smarter than me to tinker with for a few years, and then sometime it's going to be Or maybe it's just gonna have like stock Android. They just flash it with a custom ROM or something. Who knows?
I can't wait to see this thing come out. So it's been rumored to come out sometime this year in November. We'll see. I personally think the aesthetics, like, it's just terrible aesthetics. It's just it's got these sharp edges all over. It looks like it can cut you if you don't handle it correctly. I don't know what they're thinking.
It looks it looks a little breakable.
Oh, it looks extremely breakable.
Like it looks like it would just, if you just twist a little bit wrong, it looks like it would just
just snap out, right?
I don't know. I mean, maybe when I get my hands on it. I mean, because Sony's been making some pretty decent like VR gear. So maybe it's stronger than it looks.
Maybe. You know, what I was really hoping they would talk more about in the showcase in terms of accessories, I was hoping they would talk more about Access. For those who don't know, Access is the accessibility controller that Sony's been working on for PS5. It was previously called, I think, Project Leonardo, but now we know that the controller is just called Access Controller. So basically like a circular disc with like different buttons that you can map, and there are different pieces to it they can combine and connect in ways that allows people with physical disabilities to play games. I was really hoping that they would talk more about that during the showcase, because that is infinitely more interesting and useful than this like handheld Project Q device that they spent however many minutes going over. I felt like e-waste immediately. But the Access controller, depending on how they price it and how durable it is, could be a game changer for a lot of people with physical disabilities, that they can enjoy PS5 and also PS4 games. You can play PS4 games on PS5, right? So a lot of these games that were previously basically they can't play for whatever reason, they may be able to now. So we'll definitely come back with more news on PlayStation 5, the Access controller, once they give us more to consume. But for now, that concludes the Sony showcase.
Okay, here's one more possible use case.
Okay.
And it's not a good one. But suppose that Sony sells several of these. Let's say they sell it's an underground hit and it just does really well. Suddenly they have a bunch of games or a bunch of devices that would probably be pretty well suited to doing remote play of cloud-based games, if they wanted to do cloud-based gaming services.
Like Stadia kind of deal?
Yeah. A second coming of Stadia, but through PlayStation.
Oh man,
I don't love it.
Yes.
But it's another profit margin. It's another profit angle that they could be approaching this from.
You know, if the system is not tied to PS5 and you use it as like a streaming device that can play off like the PlayStation catalogs of streamable games, I think that would be really cool. Much better than what they're proposing it to be today. But again, the problem with this device, I think, is that it hinges on the fact that you have to own a PS5 for this to be worthwhile. Now,
it just turns your PS5 into a Wii U,
basically, and I think that's the problem. Now, if they were to say, hey, actually, you can just log on with this device and stream games off of like our cloud for games that you own, that would changes everything.
Pretty cool. Yeah,
that changes everything. But as it stands today, they've stated it requires PS5 and is only used for remote play off PS5. Until such time that they change that, it's e-waste to me. But like you said, hey, if that's a thing that they will pursue, which I think is a way better idea, love to see that happen.
Well, let's hope that does do well, or let's hope that they do something well with it, do something good with it.
Yes,
there we go. That's the words. So let's go ahead and switch over to some industry news now. Now that we're pretty much well covered as far as the as far as the PlayStation announcements went,
the new games.
We still have some other pretty exciting announcements here that were kind of
yes.
because
all right.
In addition to Sony having an event, Marvelous had a bit of an event.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Marvelous just had their May showcase on the 25th. And it gave us some insight as to projects that they're currently working on. The games that were featured in this showcase are all in early stages, so not a whole lot of information were provided for each of those. So I'm gonna go through like the ones that I feel like you all would be interested in. We'll have like 2 teaser trailers that we can look at. And yeah, so let's start with something called Project Magia. So the fact that it's called Project something should tell you that they may have a new name eventually.
Nope, it's just gonna be Magia.
Yeah, or it could just be that. Who is it who did that?
Project Octopath Traveler became
Octopath Traveler.
Project Triangle Strategy became Triangle Strategy.
The game is just gonna be Magia now.
Yep.
Yeah, so at least for now, it is known as Project Magia. It is a new RPG IP that will feature character design from mangaka Hiro Mashima, whom some of you may know him from Fairy Tail and Eden's Zero. So both of which are well-acclaimed series. So he is in charge of creating the characters. Not much else is really known at this point other than he's in charge with the character design. So we'll see what the actual game will look like.
All right. They also had a little bit of a game here that they talked a little bit about. It's another project. I guess we can probably guess what the game might be called, but it's called Project Life is RPG. Not to be confused.
The title is going to be Life is RPG. That's
not to be confused with RPG is Life, which is a autobiography by me. But this next project is called Project Life is RPG. The theme of this RPG is life. Yep, pretty straightforward. So they explain that the RPG represents life itself. Director Itetsu Suzuki says that the game will be a fresh new RPG that pays respects to its roots. But not really a whole lot else was revealed other than some key concept art.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Mr. and Val just reminded us of Various Daylife, a game from Square Enix some time ago. That thing. Yep.
I forgot about that thing.
I forgot about that thing too. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, not much is known.
Pretty exciting though. I wonder if that's going to be kind of like an attempt to relate just everyday life to RPG stats and stuff.
I don't know. Okay, so I talked a little bit about this during my stream, and when we talked about so they talk about life, right? They talk about life, but that's like an English translation. The Japanese word that they use is jinsei. Jinsei is jinsei is life, but there's this very specific connotation that talk about one's life from birth to death, like their chronicles, like it's one's life, their life, right?
Like a legacy of a person. Yeah,
it could be, or you could talk about your own like jinsei. Like I can talk, for example, if I talk to you about my jinsei, I'm talking about like my life as I've lived up to this point.
Yeah.
Like all the things I've done, all my accomplishments, my adventures, right? That's my jinsei. The choices that I've made through my life, how I get from where I was to how I am today, that's my jinsei, right? Which is correctly translated as life, but very specific usage on the word.
It's got more loaded in that word than what we think of when we say life.
Yeah. So, so this is, I can imagine this being like, the chronicle of like a traveler, and, that could be kind of cool, right? Or you can write your own chronicle as you go through the journey, and that's your jinsei in this RPG, right? It could be. It's I don't know where they're going to take this, but it could be pretty grand. They did say that this is going to be very ambitious and not like any game that they've made before. We'll see.
Really?
Like we've literally seen like 2 pieces of concept arts. There's not much to go by other than what they have said.
I'm ready
So,
for it. I'm ready
yeah.
to see something different, you know?
They say in the show that there's gonna be something like planning your adventure and then selling the ocean sea, selling the open seas. So
okay.
that's kind of part of the concept that they've explained in there. So we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah.
All right. So here are more farming simulator games that we promised from earlier. Oh boy. For 2 of us who don't really play these games, we sure do talk a lot about them. So I had to do some fact checking on this because some outlets is reporting 1 new title, some other outlets is reporting 2 new titles, and so I had to like rewatch the showcase like once or twice to make sure I'm getting this correctly. And based on what I saw, I do think that they're actually talking about 2 separate Story of Season games. Not 1, but 2 games.
Okay.
The first game is going to be a modernized version of the series that brings modern experiences, their words, to this new title. So maybe like a new mainline Story of Seasons title that should be like a flagship kind of thing.
Like a modern as in like using like modern farm equipment, like
no, I think modern is in like modern technology, so like you can maybe better interact with your environment, that sort of thing.
Like a more ambitious, more current style of game.
Absolutely, but still staying to the roots of like being able to farm and share your crops. And so there's some like more modern gameplay interaction ideas that will be implemented in this one. That's what I'm getting at. I feel like they're getting at. And then a second title which will actually allow players to play in multiplayer mode, so kind of like Stardew Valley like multiplayer, but Story of Seasons is what I'm getting from them. So 2 separate games, not 1 game with 2 modes, but 2 separate games. I do wonder why they have to make 2 games just to have a multiplayer mode though. So I think that's probably where the confusion is coming from. But they have specifically said this other title like multiple times. So I think that's pretty strong indication that they mean like this next title, this other title has multiplayer.
Interesting.
But we'll see how they actually implement it. From my perspective, they could really just have 1 Story of Seasons that has the multiplayer mode, but we'll see what they have in mind.
Cool.
Yes.
Well, next up, kind of connected, in fact, I think I'm pretty sure that this is in fact a spin-off of the Story of Seasons games. Rune Factory Project Dragon was announced. Project Dragon, gosh. Is it going to be Rune Factory just Dragon? Marvelous showed 2 Rune Factory games. The first one is called is a spin-off title, Ryu no Kuni. Ryu no Kuni. Project Dragon. Yeah. All right. And we have a teaser trailer for it, so let's take a gander at that.
Yeah. This is beyond just the planning stage now, right? They have some kind of things for us to see.
And that's a pretty cool looking dragon. Pretty cool dude riding a dragon.
Right. They said that the idea behind this title and the Rune Factory is like East and West. Whereas like the main Rune Factory titles is kind of like have like a Western flavor in terms of like knights and the dragons. This is gonna have more like Asian inspired like aesthetics, mainly Japan. Really, when I'm looking at it, I
can dig it.
But that's their idea, is that this spin-off, this Project Dragon will have a distinctively Asian kind of aesthetics to the character and the farms and whatnot.
That just looks cool.
It does. I'm happy for the the folks who likes the farming simulation game. But this, as people know, Rune Factory is also like pretty strong RPG title. It's basically what Square Enix wanted to make.
Yeah, with
yeah, whatever
much.
that game was called.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard it was actually good though. So, you know.
I heard it was pretty bad. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard some people really liked it. I've heard some people really didn't like it. So
it's
yeah. It's one of those things. Yeah, so that was a Rune Factory game. Wasn't that crazy? Yeah.
Cool. But what if I want more Rune Factory?
Oh, you can definitely get more in the name of Rune Factory 6. So the other Rune Factory game that they talked about. The problem is there's not a whole lot to go on. They've shared the logo for Rune Factory 6. So like, Rune Factory 6, here's the logo. Okay, next game.
All right. They done pulled a Bethesda. I remember several years ago, Bethesda showed off the logo for the Elder Scrolls 6.
Man, but
remember
hey, yeah, I do remember that. But hey, so the Rune Factory 6 would be the next mainline game. They have only shared the logo. We'll see what that looks like, and hopefully their next showcase they'll show us something more. But here's a game that they did show something of, right there.
Yeah. And it's a they ended the showcase with a new teaser trailer for the next game. And we'll just show that right now because I think that some people are going to be pretty excited by this. And this is actually the first time I've seen this trailer, and I'm actually pretty excited to see it too. This one's called Daemon Ex Machina. Titanic Scion.
Yes. So this is definitely a teaser trailer, okay? Like no gameplay, just some art.
Just a little bit of CGI. Yeah.
It's enough to get the fans going. Like if you're a fan of the original Daemon Ex Machina, this is it. This is good enough to get you going, right? For a little bit.
That's cool. I remember the original trailer for the first Daemon Ex Machina just like blew my mind. It looks so
rad. It's a game that I've been meaning to play because I do like mecha games. I just, it's just another one of those games that I never get around to play. I really want to.
Yeah. It's been on my list for a while. I mean, along with like 3,000 other games. But it's been on that list. I'm starting to realize why people just watch Twitch streamers sometimes, so they can live vicariously and not actually have to play the game.
I know. I do that. I watch people play games that I'm interested in watching but not playing all the time.
Oh man. So we don't really know anything about the game.
Yeah, other than what we just saw. But hey, we'll be linking the showcase in the description down below so you can watch the entire thing. It's going to be in Japanese, but it has official English translation in there. So you can watch and see for yourself if you haven't seen that showcase yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So check it out. All right. So we do have 3 other industry events just around the horizon, which means we're going to have a lot of shows here to talk about.
Summer is a busy time for us here.
Starting with Summer Game Fest of 2023 that starts on the 8th of June. So get yourself prepared for that. Starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Central. This 2-hour show will include over 40 publishers. We can watch the event live on most of the major broadcasting platforms, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and the Summer Game Fest website itself. And there's going to be a link to that, summergamefest.com in the description. So that's going to be, I am sure, quite a bit of stuff for us to cover. Following that, probably not so much. The Xbox Game Showcase is going to be on the 11th of June here at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Central. Microsoft promises first looks in games from their internal studios and creative partners from around the world. The showcase can be watched also on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, over 30 different languages, including American Sign Language.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is
I
pretty
respect
rad.
it. Yeah.
And then finally, the RGG Summer Summit. It starts on the 15th of June at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. Central Time. And this broadcast will likely feature the latest information from Like a Dragon series. So we will also see some updates on Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, and Like a Dragon 8.
Yes. Ooh, I'm excited about that Summer Summit.
I know you are. I'm pretty excited too, as a veteran of Like a Dragon.
Like a Dragon. Yeah. How did you like the game after you were done? You're done, right? You are done with the game.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I'm done with it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I've got a whole review that I need to write and
Another one in the backlog, am I right? Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna do it, but I got lots of thoughts that are still percolating, so I'm just letting it come to me when it does. But anyways, I'm most excited for the Summer Game Fest. Honestly, I'm sure the Xbox showcase is gonna have something pretty cool going on too. They might have another copy of Skyrim or something that they're gonna talk about.
So the Summer
FIFA.
Game Fest last year was basically like space shooter for like, I remember last year's Summer Game Fest. So hopefully they do a little better this time around, that didn't just have like 10 space shooter in a row.
Over 40 publishers, they've got to have something in there.
We'll see.
Right?
We'll see. We'll see.
I mean, when they got they must have gotten some feedback from last year. Come on, like
we'll see. I mean, no, yeah, but some people like the space shooters though. So yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
We can do a space shooter drinking game. You take a shot for every space shooter, 2 shots if it's a horror space shooter.
My poor liver.
But yeah, so going back to the RGG Summer Summit really quickly, the 2 main games that we're likely to see are a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, which for those who may not remember will be a prequel to Yakuza 7, but also a in-between game for Like a Dragon, Yakuza Like a Dragon and Like a Dragon 8. God, they changed the title. It just like drives me crazy. So just a reminder that it's kind of like, it's a Gaiden game that talks about what happened to Kiryu after Yakuza 6 and between 7 and 8, so to speak. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring that up again is because this next piece of news that I'm personally very excited for. So RGG Studio recently held an event to audition for people to be added to their latest games, namely Dragon Gaiden and also Like a Dragon 8. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with the Yakuza series, they do tend to regularly add real people into the game. And there are a couple ways they do that. Sometimes they will have like... I did. Sometimes they'll add, celebrities who play in Yakuza movies, like famous celebrities, and they'll use their like voice and likeness in official characters. For example, like in Yakuza 0, the 3 main like baddies that you see in there, they're real actors who played a lot of like Japanese Yakuza movies. So they would do the voices and, they would use their likeness in these official characters. Sometimes they'll include actual wrestlers from like the Japan like wrestling league. Other times they even include like, porn actresses in their games. So almost like anything goes for them, right? So this time they held an audition for people who would want to be included as hostesses in this game. So there were 5 finalists who made it through thousands of applications, and these 5 finalists will be featured in Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. So congratulations to them, and they were selected back in April. Now this news is actually about one of the finalists. So out of the 5, right? One of them actually won the Grand Prix and got the grand prize. And the grand prize is actually to be featured in Dragon Gaiden, but also in Like a Dragon 8. So 2 games instead of just 1 game. And that person is actually VTuber who's known as Kson. Kson is a extremely popular VTuber in Japan. She actually streams in her avatar as well as in person. She just switches it up. So super cool, and she's been basically a lifelong Like a Dragon Yakuza fan through her many different interactions with the game and streaming the games. I guess for people who don't know who Kson is one of the person chiefly responsible for VTubers being popularized in like the West, because she streams in bilingual, so she's fluent in Japanese and English because she grew up in Atlanta. Yeah, so she's really cool, super creative individual, and again, just a lifelong Yakuza fan, and this is sort of like her big dream come true moment, being able to be featured in the game. So I thought it was super awesome. I, as just a VTuber fan and also a fan of the Yakuza series, I'm like double excited for the news that she'll be featured in not just one, but in both games. So pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yes.
And then rounding out the industry news, CRYMACHINA have announced a vote for the reverse cover. NISA says that they'll be hosting another vote for the upcoming action RPG. So if you're interested in the game and want to have an impact on what the reverse cover looks like, you can find the link in the video's description. Or you will be able to a little bit later on, until the 5th of June. So act soon while supplies last.
Yeah, I was looking at it. The reverse covers actually look pretty cool. So I'm kind of excited for this upcoming action RPG. Yeah. All right. Now moving on to some news relating to merch. You know, for the first time in this show, I'm going to tell you guys something about merch soon not being available, as opposed to like new merch coming soon. So from June 12th, we will no longer be able to purchase Pokemon shirts from Original Stitch because the company is actually going out of business. Yeah, I know. That's a bummer. Yeah, Original Stitch was a company that allows you to customize your own Pokemon shirt by choosing a list of patterns, buttons, and other design combinations. Now, these shirts aren't cheap. I think they're like $120 a shirt, but they're like super high quality. So it makes for a good gift for anyone who's like really into Pokemon. Some
these
of the
are like
patterns,
dress shirts with like custom
they're
buttons and
dress
stuff.
shirts. Yes, they're not t-shirts, they're dress shirts. And they're like really good quality dress shirts that you can even wear to work, right? So don't think of it as like, I mean, some higher quality dress shirts can go to that price. So I don't think it's like crazy. Not like $1,000 white t-shirt from Yeezy, you know?
Right.
But yeah, no, it's like like 120, I think, for like a dress shirt. So it could be nice. Now, in addition to shirts, if you don't feel like getting dress shirts, they also sell bandanas, masks, and even aprons using these Pokemon patterns. So I think apron might actually be kind of cool. Like a Pokemon apron, that could be cool. So we'll have the link in the description below so that you can order something before June 12th. In fact, I'm going to do that because I didn't know they were going out of business. Now that I know that, I'm going to be ordering some stuff that I've been holding off from.
Wouldn't that be ironic if everybody was like, oh my gosh, we're going to lose our chance, and they all go order, and then suddenly they're like back to
Hey,
good.
We're profitable again. Yeah.
Well, that would be nice, but probably not. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
What is going to happen, though, is a Metal Gear Solid board game an officially licensed one.
It looks really good, actually.
It's now available for pre-order through the CMON website. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This board game will contain 24 miniatures, playable through 6 independent missions or a 14-mission campaign. Pre-orders include a miniature of Metal Gear Rex and a 109-page graphic novel. The game is expected to ship sometime in May of 24. And we also have a video of it.
Video?
What even the heck? A board game with a trailer.
It's true. It's got a video.
It's actually got like a 3-minute long video. I don't know if we're gonna watch the whole thing. I'm thinking probably not, but that is that's pretty extra, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Oh, some of the figures.
These are the miniatures.
Oh,
yeah.
Revolver Ocelot looks awesome.
Yeah. Psycho Mantis. Hey.
Oh, Liquid. Yes. That's cool. Okay. And I'm a sucker for minis.
I know.
I especially like painting them and making them look awesome.
For all the
Otacon.
like board game enthusiasts out there, if you got some friends who are, who likes board games and are a fan of Metal Gear, this is like the thing that you can get them, or at least tell them about it.
Yeah,
I think it's only $100 too, which I know
that's pretty affordable for a lot of these board games, though.
Yeah,
for real,
it's like $100. It's not bad.
All right, well, I mean, this is entertaining and all, but I'm gonna switch to something else. Yeah, we don't need to watch a 3-minute trailer, but if you do, you can find it on YouTube and in the description down below after the show. So,
yes.
Now, what's this last one? You don't have any description here. What is...
I don't, because it's easier just to look at it than to talk about it. So the last item that I have on merch drop is actually just a quick coverage of One Hobby G. So if you guys are familiar with One Hobby, of course, it's I think it's like a quarterly, like a seasonal show of just all kinds of new figures that's coming our way. And they do have a couple that I think are pretty interesting. So you can share my screen really quick. Yeah. So I'm gonna list the website in the description below, so you can breeze through all these at your own leisure. But there are scale figures coming for let's see. Wait, what is it called? There are scale figures coming for, not scale figures. Nendoroid's figure coming for like Neon Kennedy, for example. And then also, let's see, there is some stuff for Miku. Of course, there is new Persona, Phantom Thief Edition for Kasumi. I know Mr. Valley hates the character, but hey, someone likes her. Some people like her. Don't get mad. Hollow Knight, Nendoroids are coming.
Oh, that's a scale figure, though, of Hollow Knight.
Oh. Makes you think, doesn't it? And then, we got Papa Parade for the Red Pyramid thing.
Oh, like, man, that's could I get a pyramid
literally
head?
His name.
I want a Pyramid Head Nendroid. Do they have that?
They did.
Did they really?
They did. Oh. It's already released. You can buy it today.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
If they have stock.
I don't actually need one, obviously.
Yeah. But, they've got stuff for Demon Slayer. They got stuff for Attack on Titan. So all kinds of new figures that are coming. I've only talked about a couple that's more like game related, but just breeze through it. Look at all these things that are coming at your own leisure. Just wanted to share with you all that this is a thing. So yeah, that's the end of the merch drops, and pretty much concludes our news coverage today.
All right. Well, guys, it has been a pleasure to stream for all of you all today. I hope that you've enjoyed today's show. Normally, this would be the time when we would, talk about some of the super chats, but I haven't seen any roll in. So with that, it's been a pretty long show as it is, and I'm okay with that. So let's go ahead and wrap
It's
up.
a lot
Baku,
of things.
have you got any final thoughts for the folks?
Not much final thoughts, but we forgot to mention, I guess, that we do stream over at twitch.tv. So please check out Mr. Derek, who is currently going through Trails, I believe. Are you going through Trails right
of
now?
Cold Steel 3,
'Cause
still
you're trying.
Still trying. Yep.
Are you
I do have an
Are you
update.
coming back? Are you coming back to stream? Oh, you have an update.
Oh yeah, I do have an update.
Okay.
I actually, because I'm so far behind, I'm actually taking a couple of weeks off of work here pretty soon just to dedicate to playing and production.
Up.
Yeah.
You're taking off work to play Trails.
Yes, I actually
And
am.
also to
How I'm
give
gonna
us-
make it. Mhm.
Also to give us reviews, right? Experience points, eh? Review, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
videos,
yeah,
yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
I
We'll
hope.
see.
Let's hope. Fingers
make
crossed.
Make sure to shame Derek on Twitter if you'd like him to work on those review videos that we all love so much. But also
geez.
shame him if you want to see more Trail streams over at twitch.tv/SuperDerekRPG. And I can also be found on Twitch over at twitch.tv/BakusanJRPG, where I am currently going through Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That game is incredible. I am so mind blown right now with the game. Right? I'm just super. I've never been this happy. I haven't been this happy playing games in a long time.
That's really
In
exciting.
a
to hear,
long
man.
time. So yeah, please come check us out. Over at Twitch, and we will be sure to try to be as entertaining as we do here.
Well, tell you what, try as we might, we tried to slip out really quick, but then Fluffy Dogs noticed and they threw in a super chat for us. They said,
Okay.
Do you have any suggestions for how best to play retro consoles? Devices that upscale versus CRT? And they said, sorry for being late. And that's all right,
Oh,
Fluffy.
dude, no worries.
So my recommendation is, if you have the space for a CRT for retro consoles, that's the way to go. If you do, if you have one, but not everybody does. Not everybody's got a 90s room. Not everybody's got a gaming room, and they're unwieldy and they're kind of harder to come across these days. But if you have it, that's the way to go. Otherwise, the RetroTink 5X has been just such an easy scaler to use. I mean, there's a lot of people who will swear by the OSSC, and I used that for a really long time. And it was fine. Actually, it was more than fine. It was really great, but you kind of have to be okay with being a tinkerer. Ironically, the RetroTink is just plug and play, but the OSSC is it's really way more involved, but you can if you put the time into it, you can get even better picture out of that. But if you're just looking for a way to play on a modern TV with no lag or as little lag as possible, the OSSC has plenty of inputs and it handles pretty much everything, whether that's RGB or composite or component video, and it just works. It's really nice. So that would be my recommendation, is the RetroTink 5X particularly, but it's also not exactly a cheap piece of kit either.
Yeah,
so
it's a little pricey. It's like $325 on the website,
but it's
not including shipping.
But it's a lot cheaper than, so the OSSC I think you can get for 150, 180. I can't remember quite what it is, but I know that the one before that, the FrameMeister, that was the gold standard for plug and play, and it just works. And with those, the chips that they used being out of production, those things were 500. So it's almost it's almost a bargain, almost.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to pay for the 5X Pro, I think you could get by with the 2X Pro. You don't get as much out of it, but it is a thing you can consider.
The 2X will get a 480p signal to your TV, and whether or not it'll really handle that well though is a crapshoot.
But the 5X Pro is cream the crop. If you have the money to spare,
For sure.
That's where you go. Yeah, I'm not big on retro gaming, so I would definitely take Derek's words. I have seen the Retro Tank 5X in person, and they do look good, but I haven't like played with it myself, so I'm sorry that I can't give like a strong recommendation for it per se. Like I've actually used this thing, but from what I've seen at my friend's place, it plays well. The what is it? The lag is like minimal.
Yeah.
Minimal lag.
It actually is zero lag because there's no frame buffer. It is legitimately like if there is lag, it is in the television that you're viewing it on.
Yeah.
So.
It's just it's super neat. So yeah, I'm actually thinking about picking up one myself, whenever money becomes less tight, or if they ever go on sale.
Yeah.
Oh boy, if they ever go on sale, I'll pick one up immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a Dreamcast that I was, thinking about. I'm like, how can I play this Dreamcast? Or the Wii? I'm like, how can I play this? Without like a CRT, like what can I do? What are my options, right?
Yeah.
So I was looking into one of these solutions. That's the only reason why I know about the Retro Tank. I was asking a friend, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I have one. Why don't you come by? I'll show you what it looks like."
Now I will say that there is another possibility that is also a little bit more involved, but like so the Retro Tank is great if you already have the consoles that you want to play them on. I would be remiss to not mention emulation is totally a valid option. But if for whatever reason, software emulation is not your jam, the Mister is something that I've been looking into lately for personal use, which is basically hardware-based emulation of older consoles. It wouldn't work super great for anything more modern than PlayStation 1, I think. I think that's probably about where it maxes out right now. But from what I've seen for everything prior to that, it is like super accurate, and it's like having a really interesting multi-console that just works on HDMI output and can also do output for CRTs and stuff. But yeah, it's really interesting. If you're interested in more about like playing retro games this way, check out Try and Corey over at My Life in Gaming. Those two dudes, super cool. They have really in-depth videos covering everything. Like basically they're the people I go to learn about how best to play my retro games. So cannot recommend them enough. They are so good. But cool. But yeah, Fluffy Dog says thank you both, and thank you, Fluffy. Very much appreciate that. Yeah, FPGA is the emulation of the future. Agreed. So so Fluffy says, so Retro Tink for NES through PS3 then? I don't think it does PS3. Because it'll basically what it does is it takes 240p and 480i output and multiplies it basically to a higher resolution that your TV can more easily understand. So I would say up through PlayStation 2. Pretty much, or Xbox One. After that, though, the PS3 already has HDMI output, so you're pretty much solid there. So it should get you going for all of your older consoles, though.
Yeah, for anything that has HDMI, there is a pretty good, pretty portable upscaler that you can use.
The M cable, the M Classic.
The M Classic, yeah, which I have, and I can vouch that it works.
Yeah.
I've used the M Classic for a while. I've also used the M Classic for my Switch because, it
does work some wonders.
Yeah, it does help it look just a little bit more polished. It works especially well for the PS3, honestly. So
it's like
if you want to,
it does some after the fact sort of anti-aliasing for your older consoles.
Yeah. But it does it really fast. So you don't see a lot of lag, because it's processing the image. So you should expect to see some lag, but it's actually done in a way that's really smart. I don't know what they did, but
they got some secret sauce that's all right.
It looks good. I mean, the end result is there, so I can see it. Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us tonight. It has been a pleasure, and we'll see you guys in the next episode, because I have a feeling we'll have a lot to talk about then. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
See ya.